As somebody who has recovered from clinical depression and anxiety, I want you to know that your brain is not broken. You're not a lost cause, and you're not defective. I used to think these same things. I used to think this is the way that my life is now. I think I started to believe that because when I would try to relate to friends, coworkers, or even family, they would look at me like I was speaking another language. So it started to make me feel like I had missed a software update or something like that. So it was very defeating, and I came away with that belief that there must be something wrong with me. So the more I, inquired, the more I looked into it, I started to believe that maybe I'm one of those people that just has a lower level of serotonin or the famous chemical imbalance issue. People walking away with that belief that there's something physically wrong with them, that mentality gets them stuck longer than the actual symptoms last. People are diagnosed with depression by symptom counting. It's actually called the DSM-5. You can read all about it. So basically, you just have to have 5 symptoms, but one of them must be loss of interest, low mood, or just a general loss of pleasure. There's other symptoms too: change in sleep patterns, loss of appetite, thoughts of guilt, even thoughts of, grave thoughts. You know what I'm talking about. So there's no blood test, no brain scan, no required genetic markers, just a checklist. So you can have two different people that have completely different symptoms. There's 100 or even 1,000 different symptom combinations. And these two individuals can have a combination of those symptoms and still get diagnosed with the same exact thing. So the diagnosis just describes what's happening, not why you have depression or why the cycle of depression started. So after you receive this diagnosis, because you checked all the boxes, it takes you right back up to feeling like there's something physically wrong with you. This is just how I am. I'm stuck this way forever. So the chemical imbalance hypothesis was promoted for years, and it was the primary hypothesis when I was dealing with it. So let's just correct these serotonin levels in your brain, and that's what's going to fix you. So large evidence reviews now, they don't support that depression is caused by lower serotonin levels. So since I believed that there was something physically wrong with me, there was no escape. I felt like this is my life now. This is just how it is. I'm stuck this way. And I also started to believe all the negative thoughts that I would have. Why did you say that? That person probably thinks this. Or why did you do that? Now this catastrophic thing is going to happen. So it made every setback that I had during the day or throughout the week, it made it feel permanent, like it was destiny, and there's nothing I could do to change it. So after scouring the internet in the early 2000s, you could imagine there wasn't a whole lot of resources out there. But I was able to find some resources. And it was just information. And it taught me how, in order for depression to maintain itself, it has to maintain this cycle like an engine. And so once I understood that I could start trying to break this cycle in certain places, then maybe I can break this cycle. Maybe I'm not stuck. And that was the turning point. So we've established that depression works in a cycle. And the first leg of this cycle is called emotional arousal. And And what emotional arousal is, it's those negative thoughts, all or nothing thinking, just intrusive thoughts that you don't want to be thinking. So that puts you in a state of fight or flight. So that's emotional arousal. So emotional arousal, going into overdreaming, because you got to go to sleep, right? So when you're in fight or flight all day long, and then you go to bed at night with high levels of emotional arousal, your brain overdreams, especially REM sleep. So instead of getting that deep restorative rest to get you ready for the next day, your brain's doing a different job. It's trying to address all these intrusive thoughts you've been having all day. So you wake up in the morning after not getting any restorative rest, and you're exhausted. And so you're going into the day completely depleted before it even begins. So emotional arousal, overdreaming, waking up exhausted, emotional arousal, overdreaming, you get the idea. So what happens is this can actually start to affect your immune system because you're not getting that physically restorative sleep. So it just pushes you deeper down the spiral, and it discourages you even more. So these common causes that people have, or that I had when I was depressed, are just triggers. They're not the actual cause. So what I mean is, I'm depressed because this person said this, or I'm depressed because I did that, or, these external things. Those aren't causes, those are just triggers. So the real driver is the loop. Again, emotional arousal, overdreaming, waking up exhausted, on repeat. So since it's a cycle, what if we made the effort to just try to break up that cycle? What if we could disrupt it? What would happen to depression if we were able to disrupt the cycle? So if you look on my channel, there's lots of exercises of how to break the cycle up throughout the day. And there's numerous different techniques that you can use. So here's an example. When you find yourself in a loop of negative thinking during the day, immediately do a physical action. Like you get the thought, immediately get up and walk outside. Or you get a thought, immediately go get a glass of water. Okay? It's not addressing the specific thought. It's all about disruption. So another example is the I'll do it later thought. So when we're confronted with something that we don't feel like doing, like someone sends you a text message and you really don't feel like responding. Well, instead of the I'll do it later, just send that one-line text. See, again, it's about disruption. So what you also want to do is you want to stop reviewing your problems or worries at least 2 hours before bedtime. So you want to create a short daily pattern interruption, a non-negotiable thing that you have to do no matter how you feel. So if you're feeling exhausted, treat that exhaustion like it's a signal to start breaking the cycle, instead of proof that something is broken or messed up with your brain. So if you're in the phase of the cycle after a night of overdreaming, do one small useful action instead of negotiating with your mood. So during the day and an upsetting thought comes on, immediately fact check it. You just ask yourself, is this logically true? And if not, just toss it in the trash and move on with your day. And you'll just repeat this throughout the day. So these steps don't require you to fix your brain. It just stops feeding the loop. And then the cycle starts losing its grip. So you see, you're not defective. There's nothing wrong with your brain. You're just caught in the cycle. So if we disrupt the cycle enough, you get into the practice of this, it starts to lose its grip, and then eventually it gets dismantled. So I remember when it happened with me. I was driving to a friend's house, and then I got this intrusive thought that I didn't like. And then I thought, wait a second, that's not true because of XYZ. And then, boom, it was gone. Literally gone, just like that. So I had been practicing this for a while. So it felt like a miracle. So I want the same thing for you. So this is exactly why I built the 21-day companion guide. Because there weren't resources out there for me at the time to help me get through this. I mean, I just happened upon some information that helped me piece it together. And then I've been free from it for over 20 years. So I put this together because I can feel for people who deal with depression and anxiety. It's the worst. Any person that I encounter that's dealing with chronic anxiety and depression, I try so hard to explain to them how it works or what they can do to address these issues. And of course, when you're depressed, you don't think that information or techniques are going to get you out of it. But I know that's not true. You can. If you're dealing with bouts of anxiety, pick up my free anxiety checklist on my page. It's got some techniques in there that can help you. If you're dealing with depression or crippling anxiety, pick up my 21-day companion guide. There's one for each. So these are just tools that can help you. They're not a cure, but these are the things that helped me defeat it. And I want you to be able to do the same. So if you find this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you again.